Hi there, it's good to be with you again today. As I said, my name's Adam. I'm the leader here at Pinehurst Community Church, and I'm going to look to release just a little message each day to try and encourage, to try and bring some hope at this time. And I just wanted to share with you today because today I've had one of those weird, surreal experiences based on the current situation we find ourselves in. I did an assembly today for a school, but it was the most strange assembly I have ever done for a school because I found myself doing it over live stream. I've never done such a thing. I'm the kind of person who likes to bounce off the people they are with and see them, but because of the current guidelines and the school's about to shut down next week, I was asked if I could do this over live stream, and so they streamed me live into all the different classrooms. But it was most bizarre because I'm sat here talking to a laptop, trying to engage, but I was talking on the chat with them at the same time as doing it, and that was all the engagement I had. But it just made me think as I was doing that, as we go through this, where are the children? Because I think sometimes as adults, we don't realise the effects our feelings have on the children. And so I thought what I would do now is just the same thing I did for this children's assembly, I would do now. Because I think actually this needs to be something which is good for the children to hear. This needs to be something which can reassure children and kids at this moment in time because they are unsure what's going on. They're not used to school shutting this early, and my kids last night, they had this kind of weird, excited, but also not really knowing what was going on phase and how is this going to work out. And so what I want to do is pick out a truth right now from the Bible. As I said yesterday, we use the Bible, but pick out a truth that's helpful for us as adults, but also for children. And so the first thing I asked the kids today when we were speaking was, how are you? Because right now we need to be asking that question a lot. How are you? And not only to yourself, I want you to be looking to ring and get in contact with people as often as possible and asking them the question, how are you? We need to keep doing that right now. We need to realise that even though we may be stuck in homes, houses, wherever we are, we need to still stay in contact with people and ask the question, how are you? That's massive for us. But what I wanted to touch on today was something that I touched on with the children, which was based on that how are you question. Because most of us would say, maybe I'm scared right now. Maybe I'm afraid. Because we don't know what we're entering. We don't know what we're going into. We don't know what each day brings. And there's plenty the Bible has to teach us on this, and over the coming days and weeks, I'm going to look to pick up on some of these things and look to hopefully bring encouragement to you and hope to you in these times. But how are you? What are you thinking about? Now, there's a man in the Bible who is very famous in the Bible. It's not Jesus this time. It's a man called David. David was a man who was seen as a man after God's own heart. He was a man who stood up against, as a lot of you will know, against Goliath, against that giant, and faced difficulties and trials. But he was a man who also had to hide at points in his life and was fearful. And in the book of Psalms in the Bible, right in the middle of our Bible, you read lots of Psalms that are written by David and how he's feeling and what's going on. And this is a psalm, it's from Psalm 56. I'm going to read a few words to you. And this is how he is feeling at the time. He is being chased. He is being pursued by his enemies. He has got people who don't like him. And he's on the run. And maybe for some of you, you feel on the run right now. But we don't know what we're running from. It's a virus, but we can't feel it or touch it. But he was on the run. And he was hiding from an enemy. And we read this in Psalm 56. And in verse 3. He said this. He said, when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. See, David was a man who knew that fear was something which we may all face. We'll all come across things that may scare us, which may be difficult for us. But he was left with the question, where do I put my trust? Who do I put my trust in at this time? And it's a question for all of us. Who do we put our trust in? Do we put our trust in the government? Do we put our trust in scientists? And yes, we need to listen to the guidelines they're giving us, but ultimately, where do we put our trust? And here was this man, David, who was saying when he's afraid, he's going to put his trust in God. Because God is the one who is above all. And no matter what is going on and what may be causing fear, anxiety, difficulty, stress, or struggle in our life at the moment, he knew he could put his trust in God, no matter what he was facing. And my encouragement to you today is put your trust in God right now. No matter what's happening, trust in him. You know, as we go on over the weeks, I want to talk more about how we do that. Like I said yesterday, prayer is a great way of doing that. I encourage you at this time, and I did this with the children today, pray. Pray, because at the moment, sometimes when we need to earth something, we need to do something. So pray out loud. Even if you've never done that before, just pray, dear God, help me in this time of trouble. It can be as simple as that. But we're going to unpack that more tomorrow. But for now, I just want to leave it with you today is just asking the question, how are you? Ask someone else, how are they? But also, I would encourage you at this time, where are you putting your trust? Maybe it's time to trust in God. God bless you, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.